Fuck going on, man? It's your boy FlavorPack, and in today's video, I will be bringing you guys a damage resistance hybrid build. Pretty much makes you feel like Neo from the Matrix, because of the fact that you're able to get shot at and pretty much just not take damage, right? But before we jump into the build, I want to cover a few points, mainly just about the state of the game and when it comes to PvP and the augments and stuff like that, right? So the last video I put out, going off of, the news that we received in terms of, the PvE dark zone and all that stuff. And I had a lot of people in the comments. More obviously PvE people were in the comments, but I see the trend of, pretty much what was said amongst that group of people. Now, do I have a problem with PvE? No, I don't have a problem with PvE. I feel like I need to make that clear, because for some reason, I think people think that I have beef with PvE and or the PvE community. I don't have, a problem with either or. But I am entitled to have my opinion, just like you guys have your opinions when it comes to PvP and what goes on in PvP and all that stuff. Now, based off of the news, the biggest thing, again, for me is the cheating. I don't really care about all the other aspects. If guys wanted to run around with the same builds for, 15, 20 years, I don't really care about that. It was more so the cheating, which was like my main gripe, right? Now, the fact that that is being addressed is a W. When it comes to other aspects of things, it's kind of like, but hey, at the end of the day, when it comes to the problem that we've had the longest in terms of exploits in PvP, you can't blame the PvP community. And this is pretty much, again, me piggybacking off of the previous video in that regard. Like, hey, as much as you want to be mad at the player for using an exploit or flat out using a third-party device to cheat and have an advantage in the game, as much as you want to be mad at that person, you can't be mad at that person. The person or the group of people that you need to direct your anger towards are the devs. Now, am I bashing the devs right now? No, but I am telling the devs that they need to do better. I understand that for a long period of time, there weren't that many people working on the game, so it was kind of hard to get to certain things, but there's no way that y'all just didn't see that there were people running around with a fucking 1,000 RPM sniper rifle, like just straight up annihilating servers. There's no way that like nobody knew about that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like the fact that we had to go through, at least the PvP community, at least the fact that we had to endure that for so many years, after a while, you just kind of get numb to it. And obviously, the community is so small. Everybody knows everybody. Everybody pretty much knows who's cheating, who's not cheating, all of that stuff, right? So, again, my thing is when it comes to the PvP aspect now, we're going to be getting PvP, updates and stuff like that in the foreseeable future, starting off with the, augments and stuff like that coming into the DZ. We're in phase 2 of PTS right now, but we don't have any official news on if the augments are going to work in the DZ or not, and they currently don't in the PTS phase 2, so it's kind of like pretty much hinting towards the fact that they will not be in the DZ come the next update that they drop, but who knows, right? But for me right now, with again how things are going, they can kind of take as much time as they want. I'm not going to tell them to take forever, but for me, at least, they can take a little bit of extra time just to make sure things are going to actually work how they're supposed to and work as intended. Is that a guarantee, though? If we're being realistic, no. But, hey, we still kind of got to have a little bit of optimism here, right? But I genuinely feel like once we get the proper news, or, once we get to the point as to which we can actually really, have clarity on where, the vision's direction is going to be going, things will be a little bit more smoothened out. But I don't know, man. The fact that we're kind of stuck in this rut and we kind of don't know where things are going to go, and it's like, even if certain things get changed and fixed and stuff like that, there isn't really like 100% like stamp of approval that, oh yeah, like this is actually going to work. I don't really trust that. I feel like it's gonna come out and there's gonna be a lot of broken shit. Obviously, people are going to try to find the easiest way to get anything completed in the game, or they're going to try to cut corners and stuff like that. I actually like the fact that right now they've kind of made it to where you kind of can't cut any corners. You kind of have to just play, earn, and go with the RNG that the game gives you. And if you get what you want, cool. If you don't, hey, you got to load that mission back up and you know keep continuing to farm for what you want. But when it comes to hybrid builds, we don't really know how hybrid builds are going to play out in the next update. But at the same time, too, you can't sit here and say that hybrid builds are going to be trash, because in certain regards, the hybrids are still going to be very effective, especially with the fact that all of the meta builds, not all, but most of the meta builds are getting nerfed, and the biggest one being the Bighorn being nerfed. That is pretty much in almost everybody's arsenal. So the fact that you're taking away that gun, which you see right now on the screen, because it just does a crazy amount of damage, the fact that everybody is getting nerfed in that regard that used this gun in PvP is going to change a lot of things. And for me, with hybrid builds, again, I have not really, saying, like, we can be fair and say that yes, I use the Bighorn because it makes up for all the damage that I don't have from my build. But at the same time too, there are other weapons that I could use that give me a lot of damage. It's just not the crazy amount of fast TTK that everybody's accustomed to seeing. But with all that, man, let's get ready to jump into this build video, and I can break down the particulars for you guys. So really just jumping straight into it, I'm not going to really break down too much. I will just kind of just give you these quick little tips here. Every piece you're going to need repair skills and crit chance for your rolls. The augment itself, you're going to need quantum. Okay, for the mask, I'm using Palisade Steelworks. For the chest piece, I'm using RNK. For the holster, I am using Epicara's holster. And knee pads, the same thing, RNK. And then for the gloves, I'm using Murakami. Now, this is a prototype build in itself because it's not 100% completed, but if you guys know me and how I've pretty much went along with my trend of when I upload my hybrid build videos, I'm always tweaking and changing things based off of whatever the game does, right? Now, a lot of people are in shambles right now because for me, I can actually smile. All of the meta builds are gone for the most part, right? So now pretty much issues in a new meta. So now there has to be something else that everybody's going to be turning to always have in their arsenal in case they want to get serious. The fight is getting serious now, or they want to call somebody out for a 1v1, right? So with the changes, the PvP and everything, a build like this, or for me, any hybrid build that I have currently, is going to be game changing simply because of the fact of how I'm going to be able to play the game now. Now, granted, there's still going to be builds out there that have all reds that do a shit ton of damage, and it's hard to recover from. But at the same time, again, with augments, it changes the entire fight. Now, on the flip side of that, Echo is like your damage variant. So keep that in mind. I do have a all Echo hybrid variant that I have been working on, and pretty much I haven't perfected, but again, I'm working on it, just like how I'm working on this build right here. But I'm showing you guys an update. I know I've been ducked off for a little bit because again, I have not been PvPing. There's like no real reason to PvP right now because the best thing to be doing is PvEing. So for the people that say that, well, you don't PvE and all you do is PvP and that's why the game is redundant, I mean, hey, obviously the fact that I'm able to put out the build videos that I am able to put out, I have to go PvE to do that. I have to go play Countdown and actually, select the targeted loot that I'm looking for and farm for the pieces that I'm looking for. Now you actually have to level up this piece all the way to expertise 30 before you can prototype it. because even if an area, let's say like, RNK is an area to farm for gear, you're not guaranteed to get what you're looking for. And even if you get the roles that you're looking for, you might not get the augment that you're looking for. Now, you could get the augment that you're looking for, but you don't get the roles that you're looking for. And as it stands right now, we cannot change the roles that we have on prototype gear. So it's kind of like you're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place when it comes to some of these builds. And again, it's a journey. So again, I told you guys I would take you along the journey of me perfecting my hybrid builds to how I want them, but this is where we're at right now currently with it. But again, I want you guys to definitely stay in tune for this season simply because of the fact that there's going to be a lot of content PvP wise that I will be rolling out for you guys. I've definitely, again, taken a step back to be able to prepare myself to be able to do this. Uh, I will give out the warning. I mean, some people, I'm pretty sure a lot of people are already on it in terms of like farming prototype gear and trying to get their stuff up prototype wise and stuff like that. Hats off to you. But for the people that actually enjoy PvP, I'm just going to heed you this warning. If you do not, or if you don't want to farm for this prototype gear, you think that it's not going to make that big of a difference. Okay, forget the prototype gear, right? The augments. The augments in itself is pretty much bringing back the OG feel of like builds in terms of you being able to have a talent on every single piece. These augments are going to give every person that you fight that has prototype gear an extreme advantage over you. Quantum is one of them. You're going to be shooting at somebody, and there's a chance that you're not going to be doing damage for 2 seconds. That is a huge, great, and you can sit here and say that it's, situational, but there's a great chance that you're going to be shooting at somebody and you're right on the cusp of getting that kill, and you don't get the kill simply because this person's quantum activates and now they're immune to damage for 2 seconds. If they have a healer on their team, or let's just say a teammate's popping a kit for them, or let's just say that was the last chance that you had to kill them before they're able to get around the corner to pop a kit, that's going to be a game changer. And again, there's going to be a lot of situations you're going to get into where a lot of people have echo. You're going to be shooting at this person and you're going to say that they're cheating because they're doing so much damage, and there's no way they could be doing all this damage when they have echo on every single piece. So if you guys decide, you don't want to PvE or whatever the case may be, you want to just PvP all day, when this update officially is like rolling out, which at we're to that point now, and we're gonna see these augments in the DZ, you're gonna get rolled on, man. But hey, if you think I'm lying, I guess I'm just flying. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.